Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by, and welcome to the third quarter 2022 Hello Group Inc. earnings conference call. All participants are in a listen-only mode. There will be a presentation followed by a question-and-answer session. If you wish to ask a question, you will need to press the star key followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Please note, this conference is being recorded today. I would now like to hand the conference over to your first speaker today, Miss Ashley Jing. Thank you. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, operator. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Hello Group's third quarter 2022 earnings conference call. The company's results were released earlier today and are available on the company's IR website. On the call today are Mr. Tang Yan, CEO of the company, and Ms. Peng Hui, CFO of the company. They will discuss the company's business operations and highlights, as well as the financials and guidance. They will be both available to answer your questions during the Q&A session that follows. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that this call may contain forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provision of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Such statements are based on management's current expectations and current market and operating conditions, and relate to events that involve known or unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors, all of which are difficult to predict, and many of which are beyond the company's control, which may cause the company's actual results, performance, or achievements to differ materially from those in the forward-looking statements. Further information regarding this and other risks, uncertainties, and factors is included in the company's filings with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not undertake any obligation to update any forward-looking statements as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise, except as required under law. I will now pass the call over to our CEO, Mr. Tang Yan.
大家好，感谢参加今天的电话会。这是我回归一线管理工作后参加的第一次这个季度财报电话会，很高兴有机会再次以 CEO 的身份和投资人交流。本季度在产品和运营的共同努力下，我们取得了不错的财务成绩和业务进展。接下来我为大家介绍一下具体情况。
Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining our conference call. This is my first earnings call since returning to the CEO position. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to communicate with the investor community again. In the third quarter, thanks to the product and operational enhancements, we delivered good financial results and made solid progress in our businesses. Now, I'll walk you through the details.
首先，简单介绍一下集团整体的财务表现。2022年三季度总营收 32.3 亿人民币，同比下降 14%， 环比增长 4%。三季度营收增长好于我们之前的预期，主要得益于直播业务比之前的保守估计略好，调整后营业利润 6.05 亿人民币，对应营业利润率 19%。本季度营业利润环比大幅增长 30%， 主要得益于集团层面主导的降本增效策略在各个业务线上的执行过程中都取得了不错的成果。MOMO 主 App 营收 28.9 亿人民币，同比下降 11%， 主要原因在于疫情以及监管等多重外部因素对直播业务造成的压力，而快速增长的站外独立 Apps 部分弥补了直播下滑造成的流水缺口。环比看 ，MOMO 主 App 营收增长 4%。不考虑探探，MOMO 调整后营业利润 6.43 亿人民币，对应营业利润率 22%。探探营收 3.41 亿人民币，同比下降 33%， 主要原因在于去年9月为改善用户体验、提升留存启动的商业化回撤，以及疫情反复叠加渠道减投对探探用户及付费转化造成的压力。环比看，探探营收增长 3%， 本季度探探调整后净亏损 3884 万人民币，比二季度亏损的 1.19 亿人民币相比，亏损规模环比大幅收窄，主要得益于7月份我们开始实行的减投控本策略。
I will start with a brief overview of our financial performance. For the third quarter of 2022, total group revenue was 3.23 billion RMB, down 14% year-over-year, but up 4% quarter-over-quarter. Revenue growth came in stronger than we expected, as live streaming performed slightly better than our conservative estimates. Adjusted operating income was 605 million RMB, up significantly by 30% sequentially, with a profit margin of 19%. This was mainly attributable to solid execution of our strategy to optimize cost and improve efficiency, delivering good progress across all business lines. On an ex-Tantan basis, total revenue was 2.989 billion RMB, down 11% year-over-year, but up 4% sequentially, and adjusted operating income was 643 million RMB, with a margin of 22%. The year-over-year decrease in total revenue was mainly due to pressure on the live streaming business caused by the pandemic and regulatory factors. However, this decrease was partially offset by rapid growth in standalone apps. Tantan's total revenue for the quarter came in at 341 million RMB, down 33% year-over-year, but up 3% sequentially. The year-over-year decrease was mainly due to the demonetization process we initiated in September last year to improve user experience and retention, as well as the negative impact of COVID and the reduction of channel investment on Tantan's user growth and paying conversion. Adjusted net loss was significantly narrowed to 38.84 million RMB from 119 million RMB in the second quarter, mainly due to our initiative to optimize channel marketing strategy since July.
接下来介绍一下团队三季度在各项战略重点方面的执行情况。今年陌陌、探探和新业务的战略目标分别是：陌陌以有限的营销预算，力图实现用户规模稳中求进，同时确保现金流业务稳定产出。尽管三季度疫情和消费充满诸多不确定性，但团队能够灵活应对，在陌陌主战略重点的执行方面取得了非常值得认可的成绩。探探年初的目标是通过市场提效及产品的优化创新，推动用户规模稳定增长。但由于上半年疫情管控持续加码，严重影响用户约会以及付费意愿，大幅降低获客 ROI。三季度管理层决定将探探的战略目标调整为减投控本，持续收窄亏损，跑通适合亚洲市场约会文化的产品和商业模式，在盈亏平衡的基础上追求增长。本季度探探的财务表现显示出我们在这一战略重点的执行方面取得了初步的成果。关于新业务，我们的目标是持续丰富产品矩阵，拓宽探探和陌陌之外的业务边界。这方面我们本季度也取得了不错的进展。接下来给大家逐项介绍一下本季度我们就以上战略重点所取得的成果以及未来的发展规划。
Now, I will discuss the execution of our strategic priorities during the third quarter. The goal we set for MOMO, Tantan, and our new endeavors this year are as follows. For the MOMO app, our goal is to maintain a stable user base with a limited marketing budget and seek growth on top of that, while ensuring this cash cow business remains stable. Although the consumer and regulatory environments were full of uncertainties, our team adapted well and did a good job in executing on MOMO's strategic goal. For Tantan, our goal set at the beginning of the year was to deliver solid user growth by improving marketing efficiency and the core dating experience. However, in the first half of the year, the COVID situation continued to deteriorate, which largely affected users' dating sentiment and their propensity to pay for VAS, resulting in a significant decline in channel ROI. Therefore, in the third quarter, we decided to adjust Tantan's strategic goals to focus on narrowing net loss by reducing low-efficiency channel marketing spend and accelerating our efforts to develop products and monetization models that are suitable for the Asian dating culture in order to pursue profitable growth. Tantan's financial performance this quarter demonstrated the initial success we achieved in executing on this strategic goal. With respect to new products and businesses, our goal is to continue to enrich our product portfolio and push the boundaries beyond MOMO and Tantan. We made steady progress on this front during this quarter. Next, I will discuss the progress we made with the aforementioned strategic priorities and our future plans.
首先是陌陌 App 的用户增长情况及核心的运营数据。陌陌三季度 MAU 1.088亿人，环比下降2%。风控措施对陌生人社交的情绪 的负面影响贯穿了整个3季度，且自季度中开始持续加码，导致自然量、留存及付费意愿都面临下行的压力。渠道方面，疫情期间出于控本考虑减投了付费率不佳且留存差的低效渠道，将有限的预算向 ROI 高的渠道倾斜。3季度陌陌付费用户的数量是840万，跟2季度的860万相比呢，减少了20万。主要的原因在于 MAU 的减少，团队及时调整了渠道及增长策略，向付费指标倾斜，叠加商业产品用户体验优化，使付费率在疫情及减投的压力下环比保持稳定，为现金流业务的稳定产出奠定了良好的基础。
Firstly, regarding MOMO app user growth and key operating metrics, MOMO had 100.8 million monthly actives this quarter, down 2% sequentially. The negative impact of pandemic control measures pressures the overall open social sentiment throughout Q3, and the situation worsened starting in the middle of the quarter, resulting in a sequential decline in organic traffic, retention, and users' propensity to pay. In terms of channel marketing, in order to control costs amid the pandemic, we scaled back investments in channels with low paying conversion and less satisfactory retention, and tilted our limited marketing budget toward channels with high ROI. The number of paying users for the quarter was 8.4 million, down from 8.6 million in Q2. The 200,000 sequential decrease was mainly due to the decline in MAUs. Paying conversion remained stable thanks to our team's timely adjustments in user acquisition strategy, focusing on high ROI channels and paying conversion, and continuous paying experience optimization of commercial features. This laid a solid foundation for our cash cow business to remain stable.
接下来介绍下在确保现金流业务稳定产出这一战略重点上取得的进展。尽管疫情管控给大盘流量造成了压力，但团队通过及时调整产品策略和运营方案，在确保利润率基本保持稳定的基础上，推动陌陌主 App 的流水环比增长。在面对疫情以及消费疲软等诸多挑战的外部环境下，能够实现毛利额与流水同步增长，反映出团队出色的业务把控和执行能力。
Now, I'll discuss progress we made regarding the priority of ensuring the cash cow business remains stable. Although the COVID control measures put pressure on our user base, on an ex-Tantan basis, revenue grew sequentially and profit margin stayed largely stable, thanks to our team's efforts to adjust product and operational strategy in a timely manner. Our team managed to drive gross profit increase along with revenue growth against the challenging external environment with the COVID and discretionary spending softness. This demonstrates our strong adaptability and execution skills.
3季度，陌陌直播业务营收15.2亿人民币，同比呢下降了21%，环比增长了8%。同比下降主要原因在于疫情及监管因素，环比的增长得益于针对腰部以上的用户活动玩法叠加定向主播推荐，有效提升了该群体的产品体验，带动高额付费用户环比增长。运营团队通过调整活动政策和玩法设计，控制分成成本，在推动流水增长的同时，使毛利率基本保持稳定，实现有利润的收入增长。生态方面，优化针对不同层级用户的推荐算法，带动直播间 DAU 环比提升，供给侧优质新主播数量环比显著增加，整体生态保持健康稳定。
Momo's live streaming revenue was 1.52 billion RMB for the third quarter, down 21% year-over-year, but up 8% sequentially. The year-over-year decrease was mainly due to COVID and regulatory factors. The sequential growth was mainly attributable to the increase in the number of high-paying users, driven by promotional events targeting mid to high cohort users and designated broadcaster recommendation algorithm, which effectively enhanced the product experience of the relevant groups. Our operation team controlled revenue sharing costs by adjusting event policy and design of gamified features, so that gross profit margin stayed relatively stable while revenue increased sequentially, generating gross profit accretive revenue growth. Our ecosystem remained healthy and stable as we optimized the recommendation algorithm for different cohorts of users driving sequential growth in live streaming DAU. On the supply side, the number of high-quality talents grew significantly quarter-over-quarter.
接下来介绍增值业务，三季度不包括探探 ，VAS 营收13.4亿人民币，同比增长6%，环比增长1%，增量全部来自于新业务的收入贡献。MOMO 站内 VAS 营收11.4亿人民币，同比下降3%，环比保持稳定。独立新 Apps 营收1.96亿人民币，同比增长147%，环比增长8%。稍后我会对新业务做整体分析，这里先讲一下 MOMO 站内的 VAS。
With regards to VAS, revenue from value-added services, excluding Tantan, totaled 1.34 billion RMB for the third quarter, up 6% year-over-year and 1% sequentially. All incremental revenue from our new endeavors contributed to this. All incremental revenue came from our new endeavors. VAS revenue from the main MOMO app totaled 1.14 billion RMB, down 3% year-over-year and flat sequentially. Revenue from the new app was 196 million RMB, up 147% year-over-year and 8% sequentially. I will provide an overall update for our new endeavors later. For now, I'll focus on MOMO app VAS business.
站内 VAS 场景方面，三季度受疫情风控持续加码的影响，例如群组和线下聚会这类 LBS 属性较强的场景流量及活跃度减弱，导致传统礼物整体付费金额较低。会员业务受流量下降影响，收入环比降低。传统社交线场景营收规模回撤，是拖累站内 VAS 实现环比增长的主要原因。音视频场景通过上线新玩法，提升付费转化，推动收入规模环比提升，弥补了传统礼物的流水缺口，使得整体站内 VAS 收入环比保持稳定。
For VAS within the MOMO app, Q3 had seen COVID situation deteriorating and lockdown measures getting increasingly stringent. As a result, user traffic and engagement level of highly LBS-related features, such as the interest group and offline gatherings, were particularly depressed by the pandemic control measures in Q3. This was reflected in the relatively low overall spending on traditional gifts, and revenue from membership services also decreased sequentially due to weaker traffic. The revenue decline in traditional LBS-related social use cases was the main drag on the sequential performance of the MOMO app. For audio and video-based social entertainment experiences, we introduced new features to drive paying conversion and sequential revenue growth, which offset the decline in traditional virtual gifting and kept MOMO VAS revenue stable.
下面谈一下探探。首先回顾用户趋势和整体财务表现。为应对疫情及经济形势的诸多不确定性，三季度管理层决定正式启动减投控本策略，收缩投放规模，砍掉效率低下的渠道和获客方式，以减少探探的亏损。减投短期对探探 MAU 造成明显压力， 叠加8月下旬以来全国各处地区疫情管控力度加码，9月探探整体用户规模2090万，环比下降了16%。截至3季度末，MOMO探探付费用户数200万，环比减少了20万，主要原因在于 MAU 的下滑。付费率环比提升主要有2个因素所导致：第一，付费用户留存好于非付费用户；第二，产品及算法的优化带来了高付费意愿用户的购买行为。
With respect to Tantan, I will start with user trend and overall financials. In response to uncertainties created by the pandemic and the macro environment, in the third quarter, management decided to pursue a cost control strategy to narrow Tantan's net loss by reducing marketing spend and cutting investment in channels and methods with low ROI. Such strategy had a clear impact on Tantan's overall MAUs in the near term, compounded by the escalated COVID control measures in multiple regions in China since late August. Tantan's overall MAUs decreased 16% quarter-over-quarter to 20.9 million in September. The number of paying users for the quarter was 2 million, down 200,000 sequentially, mainly due to the decline in MAUs. The sequential improvement in paying conversion was mainly attributable to 2 factors. First, the retention of paying users is better than that of non-paying users. Second, the optimization of our product and algorithm drove spending from users with a high propensity to pay.
接下来回顾一下探探的财务表现。3季度，探探总营收3.41亿元人民币，同比下降33%，环比增长3%，好于我们之前的预期。同比下降来自于去年9月为提升用户体验实施的商业化回撤。本季度虽然付费用户受 MAU 影响环比下滑，但 ARPU 在直播业务和其他高消费项目的带动下环比显著提升，抵消付费人数下滑对营收造成的压力。分业务线来看 ，VAS 收入2.02亿元人民币，环比下降6%，下降全部来自于付费人数减少。SVIP 销量占比提升，带动 ARPU 环比小幅增长。直播收入1.4亿元人民币，环比增长20%，主要得益于供给侧优化带动的 ARPU 环比显著提升。
Now, I'll briefly review Tantan's financial performance. Total revenue for the third quarter was 341 million RMB, down 33% year-over-year, but up 3% sequentially. Tantan revenue for the quarter came in better than expected. The year-over-year decrease was mainly due to our demonetization strategy to improve user experience since September last year. Although the number of paying users decreased sequentially due to the decline in MAUs, the significant improvement in ARPU driven by live streaming and other high-spending services offset the pressure on MAU caused by the decline in paying user count. For the third quarter, VAS revenue was 202 million RMB, down 6% sequentially, mainly due to a decrease in paying user count. The proportional increase in SVIP sales led to a slight increase in VAS ARPU. Live streaming revenue for the third quarter was 140 million RMB, up 20% sequentially. The sequential growth was mainly attributable to the significant increase in ARPU, driven by supply-side optimization.
接下来介绍下探探战略重点的执行情况和未来规划。下半年，探探的目标是减投控本，持续缩窄亏损规模，同时通过算法、产品创新和新的非会员付费产品，推动留存及 ARPU 增长。ROI 打正后，再将利润投入到市场推广，以此形成自给自足的正循环。探探扭亏为盈有2个关键因素：一、采取什么样的减投方案，能够在少花钱的同时提高获客效率；二、如何通过新的产品体验提升留存和 ARPU。下面我将分别这2点分别介绍一下。
Now, let's move to the progress Tantan has made against its strategic priorities and our future plans. Tantan's goal for the second half of the year is to reduce spending in low-efficiency channels to narrow net loss. At the same time, we are working hard to improve user retention and driving ARPU growth through algorithm, product innovation, and new non-membership VAS features. Once ROI turns positive, We will reinvest the profit into marketing to form a self-sustaining positive cycle. Tantan's break-even depends on two key factors. First, reducing cost while ensuring the improvement of user acquisition efficiency. Second, improving user retention and ARPU through new product experiences. Next, let me explain each of the two in detail.
首先是渠道减投，三季度探探亏损从二季度的1.19亿元人民币大幅收窄到了3884万，减亏效果好于预期，主要得益于减投控本提效的渠道策略。进入7月以来，我们陆续砍掉了低效的渠道和投放方式，并持续优化渠道预算的分配方案，根据市场环境灵活变化调整出价策略。三季度渠道获客单位成本环比下降近30%，同比下降40%以上。不断优化的获客策略令新增、留存同环比均得以改善。受益于获客素材和针对不同的用户群体的定向策略调整，新增女用户占比提升至年内最高水平，新用户平均年龄进一步年轻化。三季度渠道减投的阶段性成果为明年进一步缩短亏损以及实现盈亏平衡和业务正循环奠定了良好的基础。四季度我们计划进一步收窄国内市场预算，持续优化投放策略，在不考虑奖金等年末特殊成本的情况下，进一步收窄运营亏损，同时持续提升新增留存和年轻用户占比，并将新增女性的比例保持在合理水平。
First, regarding reduction in channel investment, in the third quarter, Tantan's adjusted net loss meaningfully narrowed to 38.84 million RMB from 119 million RMB in the previous quarter. The better than expected net loss reduction was mainly due to our channel strategy to reduce and control marketing costs and improve user acquisition efficiency. Since July, we have gradually cut off channels and methods with low ROI, continued to optimize budget allocation for channel investments, and adjusted bidding strategy timely according to market dynamics. In the third quarter, unit user acquisition cost decreased by nearly 30% sequentially and by more than 40% from a year ago. The continuous improved user acquisition strategy drove new user retention to increase both on a year-over-year and on a sequential basis. Thanks to the adjustments in user acquisition, advertisement material, and targeting strategies for different user groups, the female ratio of new users reached a peak for the year, and the average age of new users continued to get younger. The initial results of channel investment reduction has laid a solid foundation for us to further narrow Tantan's net loss to achieve break-even and enter into a positive business cycle next year. In the fourth quarter, we plan to further reduce marketing spend in the domestic market and continue to optimize our user acquisition strategy so that excluding specific year-end expenses such as annual bonuses, we can further narrow Tantan's loss from operations. In the meantime, we will continue to improve user retention, new user retention, and the proportion of young users, and maintain the female ratio of new users at a satisfactory level.
虽然减投三季度取得了不错的成绩，但想要达成我们的目标，实现有利润的增长，除了提升渠道效率以外，另外一个不可或缺的因素是提高单用户营收水平。在如何提升单用户营收水平方面，探探走过一段弯路。在19年重新上架后，到2021年中旬，我们决定进行主动的商业化回撤之前，探探提升 ARPU 的做法是通过日益精细化的付费墙策略，提升会员服务的付费转化。这个策略用更通俗的说法来解释，就是在用户认为使用价值较高的服务周围，建造越来越多的付费壁垒，让大家不付费就不能玩得爽。由于会员服务单价无法无限分成，因此营收增长手段从付费率加 ARPU 两条腿走路，变成了只能靠提升付费率来完成。这也是为什么探探会选择在2020到2021上半年间，通过增加男用户占比以及高速付费用户壁垒 等方法，把会员付费率做得越来越极致的根本原因。这样做虽然令探探曾经一度非常接近盈亏平衡，但过于激进的付费强策略严重影响了用户体验，带来了男女比例的大幅失衡，新用户及女性用户留存持续变差，会员付费率降低，投诉率高企等问题。这段弯路证明单纯依赖无法进行用户分成的会员模式是行不通的，无法令探探的营收增长进入更加规模化同时可持续的良性增长循环。因此我们必须尝试更好的方法，而这个目的只能通过更大力度的产品和运营创新才能达成。
Although we delivered good results in lowering marketing spend in the third quarter, to achieve our goal of profitable growth, we need to address another critical factor, which is to increase ARPU. In the past, Tantan took a wrong path in driving ARPU. After the resumption of App Store downloads in 2019, and before we initiated the demonetization process in mid-2021, the way to increase paying conversion and ARPU was to make the paywall strategies more and more aggressive. In other words, this was a strategy to build more and higher paywalls around features deemed to be highly valuable to users and making it impossible for users to fully enjoy Tantan services without paying. Since membership subscription is limited in differentiating users in different paying capabilities, in order to drive revenue growth, Tantan team at the time had to heavily focus on increasing paying conversion rather than driving both paying conversion and ARPU at the same time. That was the fundamental reason why Tantan chose to push the membership subscription ratio higher and higher by increasing male user ratio and aggressively building paywalls between 2020 and the first half of 2021. Although doing so made Tantan once very close to break even, the overly aggressive paywall strategy severely affected users' experience, resulting in a number of problems, such as the largely disproportionate gender ratio, continuously deteriorating new users and female users' retention, lower membership renewal rate, and growing customer complaints. That detour, which ended up hitting a dead end, taught us that it's not feasible to entirely rely on a membership model with limited options to differentiate users. This model won't put Tantan's revenue growth into a scalable and sustainable virtuous cycle. Therefore, we have to try a better way to drive ARPU growth. This goal can only be achieved through greater product and operational innovations.
我们的计划是通过新的产品体验改善留存和 ARPU。用户产品方面，尽快探索出滑动匹配之外的有效社交体验；而付费产品方面，通过更容易的分成的非会员增值服务，提升单用户营收贡献。过去几个季度，团队一直致力于通过改善女性及不露脸用户的产品体验，来提升这两个用户群体的留存，进而带动整体留存增长。例如，向女性用户推荐优质聊天对象的 WAS 产品，算法的优化迭代，带动女用户使用时长、留存及人均对话数量环比提升。又例如，佩戴虚拟的人的头像的聊天室，为羞于露脸的用户提供即时聊天的陪伴场景。3季度，在新玩法和话题运营的带动下，聊天室互动效果和用户粘性均有所提升。4季度，我们计划在聊天室搭建更多的玩法，在提升产品渗透和用户粘性的同时，尝试商业化模式，使该场景对于提升 ARPU 和商业化提效产生更积极的贡献。
Our solution to improve retention and ARPU is to introduce new product experiences. On the user product front, our urgent priority is to explore effective social experiences beyond the swipe and match mechanism. For commercial products, we will leverage non-membership fast paying models that can better differentiate users to drive ARPU growth. Over the past few quarters, our team was dedicated to optimizing product experience for female users and those without qualified photos to improve retention of these two specific groups, thereby enhancing overall retention. For example, we introduced the female-oriented VAS features to recommended potential matches for high-quality conversations, and algorithm iteration on the back end of this feature drove a sequential increase in female users' time spent, retention, and number of average conversations. Another example I can share with you here is the chat room experience. Users who feel reluctant to show their real photos can use avatar to chat with others and enjoy a sense of companionship. In the third quarter, we improved chat room's user engagement by leveraging innovative features and initiating hot topic discussions. In the fourth quarter, the key is on introducing more innovative features in the chat room in order to enhance product penetration and user engagement. We will also going to be testing different monetization models. The goal is for the chat room to contribute more to ARPU growth and improve monetization efficiency.
整体来看，三季度创业团队在减投控本方面取得了不错的进展，在产品和场景创新上虽然还没有取得突破性的进展，但用户体验和留存都稳中有进，这让我对未来几个季度持续收窄运营亏损，最终达成在盈亏平衡的基础上实现有利润的增长，这一目标更加充满信心。我们有足够的信心和耐心，在产品运营方面慢慢打磨，不断尝试。
Overall, in the third quarter, Tantan made good progress in narrowing the net loss by reducing low-efficiency channel marketing spend. Although we haven't made breakthroughs in user experiences and product innovations, we have seen steady improvement in user engagement. This makes me feel more confident that we will continue to narrow operating loss in the coming quarters and eventually achieve profitable growth. We have enough confidence and patience to keep driving and gradually refining our products and operations.
接下来回顾下创新业务取得的进展。三季度创新产品中，以追求利润为目标的 ROI 项独立 Apps 整体营收 2.03 亿人民币，同比增长了 154%， 环比增长 2%。对于生命周期相对成熟的国内产品，我们今年的策略是加速商业化进程，提升变现效率，扩大利润规模。而处于扩张期的海外社交产品，我们的目标是在盈利的基础上，通过深耕成熟市场，拓展收入新区来扩大用户及流水规模，优化供给侧生态的同时降低分成比例，提升获客效率。三季度 ROI 项的产品整体用户数量稳中有升，利润规模环比大幅增长。这一出色的用户及财务表现主要得益于获客效率的改善，使得推广费用得以收窄，进而显著提升运营利润率。本季度海外产品收入规模已超越国内业务，且展现出更大的增长潜力。未来一段时间内，我们对于 ROI 导向的产品管理方式会延续当前的方案，即在保证盈利的基础上寻求稳定增长，扩大利润规模。在拓展新市场的过程中，根据当地用户特点，有针对性的推出特定社交产品，并尝试商业化创新。
Lastly, I will review the progress we made with our new endeavors. In the third quarter, total revenue for the profit-driven ROI-oriented standalone apps was 203 million RMB, up 154% year-over-year and 2% sequentially. For the domestic products that are more mature, our strategy this year is to step up the monetization process, improve monetization efficiency, and scale up profits. As for overseas social apps in the expansion stage, our goal is to expand user base and grow profitable revenue by deepening operations in established markets and expanding into new markets. In addition, we will optimize supply-side ecosystem, lower the revenue sharing ratio, and improve user acquisition efficiency. In the third quarter, user base of the ROI-oriented products grew steadily and profit increased significantly from the previous quarter. Such encouraging user and financial performances were mainly attributable to reduction in marketing spend due to improved user acquisition efficiency, which in turn drove a substantial growth in operating margin. In Q3, revenue generated by apps in the overseas markets surpassed that in the domestic market, and overseas apps showed greater growth potential. Going forward, we will continue our current management approach to ROI-oriented products, namely to pursue steady growth and scale up profit contribution. We will launch new social apps and innovate monetization model to meet local users' specific preferences while expanding into new markets.
以上是本次电话会我想和大家分享的内容。接下来请 Cassie 为大家具体介绍一下财务的情况。
This concludes my remarks today. I will now pass the call over to Cassie for the financial review. Cassie, please.
Thank you, Tang Zong and Ashley. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our conference call today. Now let me briefly take you through the financial review. Total revenue for the third quarter 2022 was 3.23 billion RMB, exceeding the high end of our revenue guidance, down 14% year-on-year, but up 4% quarter-over-quarter. Non-GAAP net income attributable to the company was 535.8 million RMB, compared to 571.6 million RMB from the same period of 2021, or a 6% decrease. The year-on-year decrease on bottom line was significantly narrowed from the previous quarters. Looking into the key revenue items for the quarter. Firstly, on live streaming. Total revenue from live broadcasting business for the third quarter 2022 was 1.66 billion RMB, down 24% year-over-year, but up 9% quarter-over-quarter. Core MOMO's live broadcasting revenue totaled renminbi 1.52 billion for the third quarter, down 21% year-on-year, but up 8% quarter-over-quarter. The year-over-year decrease was mainly due to the pressure caused by the COVID and the regulatory factors. The sequential growth was mainly attributable to an increase in the number of high-paying users driven by product and operational efforts. Tantan's live broadcasting revenue amounted to renminbi 139.7 million, down 40% from Q3 last year, but up 20% from the previous quarter. The year-over-year decrease was mainly due to product adjustments to improve user experience in September last year, as well as the negative impact of the pandemic resurgence on the channel investment reduction. In the third quarter, our efforts to reform Tantan's live streaming service to make it more geared toward facilitating social interactions started to bear fruit, which, coupled with the supply side optimization, drove a meaningful sequential increase in Tantan's live streaming revenue. Revenue from value-added service was 1.54 billion RMB, the same as in Q3 last year and flattish sequentially. Revenue from value-added service on an ex-Tantan basis reached 1.34 billion RMB in the third quarter of 2022, a 6% increase year-over-year and a 1% increase sequentially. The growth in value-added service on an ex-Tantan basis was driven by incremental revenue contributed by the standalone new applications. Tantan's value-added service revenue amounted to renminbi 201.6 million, down 27% from Q3 last year and 6% from the previous quarter. The year-on-year decrease was due to the demonetization process to improve user experience and retention in the latter half of 2021, as well as the pressure on Tantan's MAUs and paying conversion caused by the COVID resurgence and reduction on marketing spend. The sequential decrease in Tantan's value-added service was largely attributable to the latter factor. Non-GAAP cost of revenue for the third quarter of 2022 was 1.88 billion RMB compared to 2.16 billion for the same period last year. Non-GAAP gross margin for the quarter was 41.7%, down less than 1 percentage point both from a year ago and from the last quarter. The decrease was mainly due to a couple of Tantan-related factors. One, the decrease in Tantan's revenue contribution to the group as Tantan bears higher gross margin than the MOMO app. Two, lower gross margin from Tantan as its live streaming contributed to more to the top line. With respect to the MOMO application, gross margin in the third quarter remained largely stable compared to the same period last year and the previous quarter, thanks to our team's operational strategy to focus on gross profit and margin instead of just revenues. Non-GAAP R&D expenses for the third quarter was 223.4 million RMB compared to 231.8 million RMB for the same period last year, or a 4% decrease year-over-year, which was due to the continuous optimization in personnel costs since the beginning of the year. We ended the quarter with 1,750 total employees, of which 479 are from Tantan, compared to 2,050 total employees, of which 548 from Tantan a year ago. The R&D personnel as a percentage of total employee for the group was 62%, compared with 59% Q3 last year. Non-GAAP sales and marketing expenses for the third quarter was 458.6 million RMB, or 14% of total revenue, compared to 637.1 million RMB, or 17% of total revenue for the same period last year. The significant year-over-year decrease, both in terms of absolute RMB amount and as a percentage of revenue, was primarily attributable to Tantan's shift in marketing strategy to cut spending on low ROI channels and methods in order to take care of ROI amid COVID and lockdowns. With respect to MOMO application, we also trimmed low efficiency marketing spend and shifted our savings to promote new applications such as Tietie. We will continue to reallocate resources to support growth of those with higher ROI and promising potential. Non-GAAP G&A expenses was 82.6 million RMB for the third quarter 2022, compared to 114.8 million RMB for the same quarter last year. The decrease was again the reflection of our continuous efforts to improve cost efficiency, as well as some one-off cost items occurred in the third quarter of 2021. G&A expenses as a percentage of revenue remained stable. Non-GAAP operating income was 605.1 million RMB, a decrease of 5% from Q3 2021, but up significantly by 30% from the previous quarter. Non-GAAP operating margin for the third quarter was 19%, up 2 percentage points from the same period last year and 4 percentage points from the previous quarter. Non-GAAP OPEX as a percentage of total revenue was 24%, a decrease from 26% from Q3 2021 and 29% from last quarter. Non-GAAP operating expenses on a year-on-year and sequential basis decreased 22% and 15% respectively. The decrease in both absolute renminbi amount and as a percentage of revenue for OPEX was mainly due to a reduction in sales and marketing expenses, and to a lesser degree, our cost optimization strategy applied to other operating expenses line items since the beginning of the year in response to the macro and pandemic uncertainties. Now briefly on the below the line items. During the third quarter, the company generated 40.4 million other gain, mainly from the repurchase of our convertible senior notes from certain bondholders, which was partially offset by impairment loss on other long-term investments. Now briefly on income tax expenses. Total income tax expenses was 156.0 million RMB for the quarter, with an effective tax rate of 22%. In Q3, the company accrued withholding income tax of 42.9 million RMB, which is 10% of undistributed profit generated by our WFOE. Without the withholding tax, our estimated non-GAAP effective tax rate was around 16% in the third quarter. Now turning to balance sheet and cash flow items. As of September 30th, 2022, Hello Group's cash equivalents, short-term deposits, long-term deposits, and restricted cash totaled 13.02 billion RMB, compared to 15.71 billion RMB as of December 31st, 2021. The decrease was due to a number of cash flow items, including our cash dividend payment of 841 million RMB to shareholders, an aggregate payment of 2.14 billion RMB for the repurchase of the company's convertible notes, an aggregate of 288 million RMB in relation to the share repurchase program, and 300 million RMB payment to Chinese tax authorities to repatriate cash from our WFOE in China to our offshore entity in the first 9 months of 2022. Net cash provided by operating activities in the third quarter 2022 was 445 million RMB compared to RMB 560 million in the third quarter of 2021. Lastly, on business outlook, we estimated our fourth quarter revenue to come in the range from 3.15 billion RMB to 3.25 billion RMB, representing a decrease of 14.3% to 11.5% year-over-year, or a decrease of 2.6% to an increase of 0.5% quarter-over-quarter. For Q4 2022, on a sequential basis, we expect the total revenue for the core MOMO to be flattish toward a slight decrease due to the negative impact on VAS from the continued COVID control measures. On the Tantan side, we expect revenue to decline low single digit. Tantan's membership revenue will decrease quarter-over-quarter due to a decline in user base as we further reduce marketing spend on low efficiency channels. The membership subscription revenue decrease will be partially offset by the growth of live streaming. Please be mindful that this forecast represents the company's current and preliminary view on the market and operational conditions, which are subject to changes. That concluded our prepared portion of today's discussion. With that, let me turn the call over to Ashley to start Q&A. Ashley, please.
Thanks. Just a quick reminder before we take questions. For those who can speak Chinese, please ask your questions in Chinese first, followed by English translation by yourself. Operator, we're ready for questions, please.
Thank you. If you wish to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. If you wish to cancel your request, please press star then two. If you are on a speakerphone, please pick up the handset to ask your question. Today's first question comes from Thomas Chong with Jefferies. Please go ahead.
晚上好，谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我的问题是关于唐总回归 CEO 之后呢，我们应该怎么看集团的战略后续的发展呢？会不会发生什么改变？谢谢。Thanks management for taking my questions. As Tang Zong returns as CEO, should we expect there would be any changes to the group overall strategies? Thank you.
好的，谢谢提问。过去的2年，我虽然没有参与公司的日常管理工作，但作为董事会的执行主席，我一直非常关注公司整体的运营和财务状况，集团战略重点的制定和重大事项的决策，我也一直有参与。所以之后的战略总体上会延续之前的框架，我们分为了陌陌、探探以及新业务3个部分。如果说我在执行上和过去有什么不同的话，主要应该是在新业务的资源分配和执行力度上会加码。下面我分3方面讲一下。
Thank you for your question. Well, I was not directly involved in the daily management of the company over the past 2 years. I, in my role of executive chairman of the board, was closely following the overall operations and financial performance of the group. And I was involved in setting strategic priorities and in the decision-making process on major issues. Therefore, our strategy will generally remain unchanged, focusing on MOMO, Tantan, and our new endeavors. If there is anything different between my approach to strategic execution and the past, I would say that we will step up our efforts on new products and businesses with enhanced resource allocation and execution. Let me elaborate a bit on these 3 aspects.
首先呢，MOMO主 App 作为我们产品矩阵中用户规模最大、商业化体验最成熟的产品，目前最主要的目标是用户规模和利润稳中求进，尤其是在外部疫情和宏观经济环境充满诸多不确定性的情况下，MOMO主站最重要的职责是持续稳定的产出可观的净利润和现金流。这要求团队在产品运营方面做到极致，同时不断的提升成本控制和资金使用效率。我们认为依靠产品和运营效率的提升，即便是在现在外部环境比较困难的情况下，保持MOMO利润的稳定产出还是一个很可实现的目标。
First of all, MOMO app. As the product with the largest user scale and the most mature commercial experience in our brand portfolio, MOMO's main goal for now is to maintain a steady user base and profit contribution to the group, and seek growth on top of that. And especially when we are facing uncertainties created by the pandemic and the macro environment. The most important task for MOMO app is to continuously and steadily generate decent level of net profit and cash flow. This requires our team to continuously improve cost control and capital utilization efficiency while doing an excellent job in product operations. We believe that by improving product and operational efficiency, maintaining stable profits is a very achievable goal for MOMO, even in the current difficult external environment.
其次，探探作为集团的第二大品牌，在帮助人们发现并建立浪漫关系这一领域，无论是在中国还是海外，都还有清晰可见的成长机会。尤其是在亚洲地区，我们还没有看到在满足用户约会需求方面比我们做得更好的产品。另一方面，过去几个季度由于疫情风控的严峻形势，超出了我们年初的预期，我们采取了减投控本的战略调整。探探用户规模在我们预期范围内发生了一定的回撤，但从最近几个月的用户留存和财务指标看，我非常有信心能够在明年把探探推上商业正循环的轨道，并在此基础上实现通过改善产品体验推动有利润的持续增长这一战略目标。
Secondly, Tantan, as the second biggest brand of the group, in terms of connecting people for romantic purposes, we are seeing very clear growth potential for Tantan, both in China and in overseas markets. Especially in the Asian markets, we do not see any other product that can do a better job than us meeting users' dating needs. However, COVID control measures in the past few quarters went beyond our expectation at the beginning of the year. We therefore decided to control cost and reduce low efficiency marketing spend. Tantan's user scale declined somewhat as we expected. And based on Tantan's user retention and financial performance in the recent months, I'm very confident that we will drive Tantan into a positive business cycle and achieve our strategic goal of profitable growth through product innovation.
第三部分是创新业务。过去2年，团队在这方面取得了不错的进展。ROI 导向的产品在盈利的基础上保持快速增长。我们的目标是未来3到5年内，我们可以再有几款这样的 app 跑出来，为集团贡献更多的利润。另一方面，非 ROI 导向的产品，我们今年也首次取得了突破。年初，我们抓住这个代际更替的这个机遇，推出了首个面向00后的大 DAU 产品贴贴，用户规模很快就达到了非常可观的体量，验证了团队在社交领域发现新市场，并把握新机遇的优势。
And thirdly, with respect to new products and businesses, our team has made encouraging progress over the past 2 years. ROI-oriented products maintain strong growth momentum on top of profitability. Our goal is to develop a few more apps like this in the next 3 to 5 years, so that collectively they can make more contribution to the group's bottom line. And on the other hand, this year we've also made an initial breakthrough in non-ROI oriented product. At the beginning of the year, we captured the opportunity of a generational transition and launched our first large DAU product, 贴贴, for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And its user base reached a very considerable level within a short period of time. This demonstrated our ability to discover new markets and seize new opportunities in the social space, and creating a competitive advantage in the process.
近期，我们对集团的组织架构进行了一些调整，以便在明确各个产品职能定位的同时，更好地利用技术和渠道的中台优势，将我们积累的成功经验用于支持新业务的发展。我本人将会直接领导创新业务团队，探索并开辟集团新的业务增长路径。
Recently, we've made some adjustments to the organizational structure in order to clarify the functional positioning of each product, and at the same time, better leverage R&D and channel marketing capabilities, so that we can apply the successful experiences that we accumulated to support the development of new products. I personally will directly lead our new endeavors team to explore and open new growth paths for the group. I think that's it for the question. Maybe let's move on to the next person. Operator?
Absolutely. Our next question today comes from Leo Chang with Deutsche Bank. Please go ahead.
感谢管理层接受我的提问我的提问是关于探探的想请问一下，探探当前的用户规模是否已经见底？然后我们怎么看2023年的用户趋势以及投放策略？然后第二个问题是也是关于探探，想问一下2023年的收入预期以及我们实现盈亏平衡的抓手有哪些？Thank you, management, for taking my question. I have two questions about Tantan. The first question is, has Tantan's MAU already reached bottom? What is the strategy, sales and marketing strategy in 2023, and how can we expect the MAU trend in 2023? My second question is, what is the revenue outlook in 2023, and what is the key measures to help reach break-even? Thank you.
好的。我们在启动降本增效的策略之前做过一个测算，我们预计探探的减投将会令 MAU 发生 20% 左右的下降，左右各 5% 吧。这个浮动区间主要是看疫情封控的情况。目前3季度的这个降幅呢超过我们预期，主要是因为这个疫情比我们8月份的预期还要严重。就目前的情况来看，我们估计最后探探用户可能会在1800到1900万左右见底。当然因为疫情的不确定性这个数字会比较动态。
Before we initiating our strategy to reduce cost and improve marketing efficiency, we estimated that the reduction in Tantan's channel investment will lead to a roughly 20% decrease in MAUs, plus or minus 5%, depending on the extent of the pandemic control measures. And the decline in MAUs in the third quarter exceeded our expectations as the COVID resurgence was worse than we expected in August. Based on the current situation, we expect Tantan's MAU to bottom out around 18 to 19 million. Of course, the number can fluctuate because of the uncertainties around the pandemic.
那么明年也就是2023年探探的用户趋势，我觉得取决于这个疫情的情况。一来取决于疫情情况，二呢取决于我们的投放策略。探探的投放策略会以 ROI 为导向，也就是说我们会在 ROI 为正的基础上适度的加大投放力度。这里面有2方面的影响因素，一是风控，这个政策逐步放开，然后线下的社交意愿恢复，这会带来留存和付费转化的提升。另一方面是我们自身的产品体验提升带来的留存和 ARPU 的提升。如果以上任何的因素变化令这个 ROI 转正，我们的投入能够算得过来账，我们就会增加这个市场投入，从而实现正循环基础上的增长。
As for Tantan's user trend in 2023, it depends first on how the pandemic evolves, and second on our marketing strategy. And Tantan's channel investment will be ROI oriented, and in other words, we will moderately increase marketing spend based on positive ROI. There are 2 factors at play here. One is the recovery of the offline social sentiment as China relaxes its COVID control policy, which should lead to improvement in user retention and paying conversion. And the other is the enhancement in product experience, which should also drive retention in ARPU growth and drive retention ARPU growth. If any of those 2 factors can drive ROI to turn positive, or in other words, to generate profit with what we spend, then we will increase marketing investment and pursue growth on top of a self-sustaining positive cycle.
那你刚才还有这个问具体的财务预期，我们开始给大家介绍一下。
With respect to financials, I'll leave it to Kathy.
Okay, I've heard 2 questions. One is how we're going to reach break-even point, and the other thing is about the revenue outlook for 2023. Maybe I'll answer the break-even question first. As you can see, from Tantan segment reporting in Q3 by cutting down on the low efficiency channels. We've already narrowed the net loss from close to 120 million RMB in Q2 to within 40 million in Q3. From there, I guess several things need to happen before we ultimately reach break-even point. One is that COVID has to come completely off people's mind as a deterrent that keeps young people away from dating and more generally from meeting someone that you just got to know on the internet in real life occasions. Right now, we are indeed seeing a pretty substantial relaxation on COVID containment measures as well as lockdowns. But sentiment-wise, I think it's still going to take some time for the dating sentiment to fully come back. And the second is that we need to continue, as Tangyan said, to make progress on the product side, including both consumer experience as well as monetization features in order to drive retention and ARPU. These are the key operational targets for the team for the Tantan team next year. With regards to the financial outlook, I hate to say this, but it's as you can imagine, it's still a little bit too early to give any reliable guidance into 2023. But here are some things I can point toward, which hopefully can give you guys some color about how to think about 2023. I'll generally put them into two buckets. One is external factors, and the other one is internal factors. With respect to external factors, of course, as I said, COVID is the biggest swing factor here, which unfortunately we do not have much control over. But however long it may take for the dating sentiment to ultimately come back, eventually we're going to come completely out of it, and the social sentiment is going to come back. So what we need to focus on right now is internally what we can do so we can better capture the growth opportunities post-COVID when the sentiment does come back. On that front, we are looking at several drivers that we need to work on. One is new product launches that may drive ARPU growth. For example, the chat room and some other social entertainment services that we're working on. A lot of these will be structured as non-subscription revenues, which will be more effective in driving top-line growth than subscription revenues. The second internal driver is, of course, MAU growth. COVID aside, we do expect the MAU to bottom out after Chinese New Year, especially as the COVID fear gradually tails out. And as MAU gradually comes back, top line is going to recover as well. So these are the few things that I can share at this point in time to help you build the Tantan model next year.
Next question, please.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Daniel Chen at JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
感谢管理层接受我的提问，我有2个问题。第一个是可不可以请管理层分享一下新 App 和海外业务的发展情况和收入预期。第二个是能否分享一下贴贴的产品进展、投放安排和商业化方面的想法。Okay, thanks management for taking my question. This is Henry speaking on behalf of Daniel Chen. I have 2 questions. First, could you share the progress of new apps and overseas business, and what's your revenue expectation for the next year? The second question is about Tietie. What's the progress of Tietie, and can management share more color on marketing and monetization strategies? Thank you.
公司从去年开始加强了对海外业务的关注度和投入，主要原因在于以我们的产品和运营经验，在海外市场可以触达更大的用户群体和收入机会。在社交出海这一块，我们跟当地的单一品牌或者缺乏社交行业经验的大厂比，还是有比较明显的竞争优势。但我们的投入方式还是以 ROI 为导向的，逐个市场尝试与之相适应的发展方式，我们不会采取一次性大规模的投入的方式来以不计成本的代价换取用户增长。
We have increased our focus and investment in our overseas businesses since last year. And this is because with our product and operational experiences, we can access a larger group of users and greater revenue opportunities in overseas markets. And in terms of social products, overseas expansions, we have very obvious competitive advantage compared with standalone local apps or large platforms lacking experiences in social space. We will pursue a ROI-oriented marketing strategy and explore the most suitable model for local markets one at a time. And we will not be pouring money into the market into marketing to pursue user growth regardless of cost.
我们这个涉及海外的业务包括探探、独立的社交 App 以及独立游戏 App 3部分。今年海外收入呢，在集团层面的占比呢有中个位数，较去年同期有大几十的增长，而且整体处于一个微利的一个状态。我们的想法是在坐稳有利润的市场后，将赚到的钱投入到该产品在新市场推广当中，尤其是很多共性比较强的发展中国家市场，我们都会尝试投放。
Our overseas business consists of 3 parts: Tantan, standalone social apps and standalone gaming apps. Revenue from our overseas business this year accounted for mid-single-digit % of our total revenue. Revenue from the overseas business for the first 3 quarters increased a high double-digit % from the same period last year and achieved a small profit. Our plan is to reinvest the profit from each product in the established market into the promotion of that product in new markets, especially with many developing countries that share a lot of commonalities. We will try to explore opportunities across them all.
那么贴贴自春节发布之后呢，经历了2季度的快速增长和较高的市场投入，到目前来看呢，已经是一款有可观规模的社交产品。目前团队的重点在于拓展社交关系链，并提升使用时长。在这2方面达到目标之前，我们在市场方面的投入会采取相对保守的态度。目前贴贴还没有到海外拓展的计划，但未来产品比较成熟之后，我们也不会排除海外发展的可能性。
TT delivered rapid user growth since its launch after Chinese New Year this year, and we stepped up our marketing efforts to support its strong growth momentum in the second quarter. And it now has become a social app with a sizable user scale. And the current focus of our team is to encourage users to invite more of their friends to join Tietie and increase their time spent on the app together. So we will take a relatively conservative approach to marketing investment before we achieve these 2 targets. As for now, we have no plans for Tietie to expand overseas, but we will not rule out this possibility when it gets into a more mature stage. Next question, please.
Thank you. And our next question comes from Raphael Chen with BOCI. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我的问题是关于陌陌主站的。想请问管理层如何在持续的降本增效策略下稳定主站的用户规模，以及能否对2023年陌陌主站直播和 VAS 的收入做出展望。我自己翻译一下。Thank you for taking my question. My question is regarding Core Momo. I'm just wondering how to maintain the users of Core Momo app with disciplined cost control strategy. And can management share some color on the revenue outlook of live streaming and VAS of Core Momo next year? Thank you.
OK。陌陌在移动互联时代作为一个有10来年的这个历史老品牌，想要保持一个稳定的用户规模，并不是一件非常容易的事情，这需要产品和渠道的共同努力。产品方面呢，我们需要不断的完善存量用户的社交体验，同时在此基础上尝试做加法，不断的尝试新的社交场景来打中新用户的需求。渠道方面，考虑到外部环境对陌生人社交造成的压力，我们会将有限的预算重点向这个使用需求更明显、付费意愿更强的用户群体倾斜，以此来提升整体的获客效率。
As a mature brand with a history of more than a decade in the mobile internet era, It's not a very easy thing for MOMO to maintain a stable user base. This requires the joint efforts of both product and channel marketing. On the product front, we need to keep improving the social experience for existing users, and on top of that, continuously explore new social experiences to cater to the needs of new users. In terms of channel marketing, considering the pressure of the external environment on open social sentiment, we intend to tilt our limited marketing budget towards users with more obvious demand and stronger inclination to pay for our services, so as to improve the overall user acquisition efficiency.
至于直播和 VAS 的收入预期的话，开始给大家。
I'll pass it to Cathy for revenue estimates.
Okay. Again, with the uncertainties on the macro front and the COVID front, it's hard to be very prescriptive at this point and look too far into the year 2023. But here are some things that I can share with the limited visibility that we have at this point, which hopefully could help you guys build out a preliminary outlook for next year. For live streaming, as you guys can see, Q3 turned out to be better than what we originally thought, both in terms of top line and in terms of gross profit. We were able to see both top line growth and a stable gross margin. However, as the macro remains quite uncertain at this point of time, at least for the coming 6 months, we'd rather stay on the conservative side about the revenue and profit growth outlook for live streaming. Value-added service, I would say it's not completely immune from the macro uncertainty, and in comparison with live streaming is actually VAS is actually more susceptible to COVID and the weak social sentiment as a result of it. For MOMO's value-added service, if COVID lingers and takes longer for the dating sentiment to fully come back, we'll try to keep the value-added service revenue line stable, as we did pretty successfully for the past few quarters. It has not been an easy task because the one-on-one and some of the interest group activities are seeing pretty significant impact from the COVID. What we have been doing and will continue to do, I guess, next year is to pull the levers that we have in social entertainment experiences to make it up. For the value-added service from the bucket of new applications, especially SoChill, the overseas app, the picture is much brighter. I think this year value-added service from the new applications has been growing at triple digit on a year-over-year basis, and despite the fact that it's now already at a pretty sizable revenue size, the pace of growth is not really slowing down much from the year 2021. We do expect the value-added service from the new bucket of applications to continue to grow at a pretty rapid pace in 2023, although at this point it's hard to pin it down to a specific number. And the other thing worth mentioning is that although these new applications are still at a fast-growing phase, we're not just we're not merely focused on revenue and user growth at the expense of bottom line. In Q3, as a matter of fact, we've successfully turned all of the 3 new applications bottom line positive. And the goal next year is to continue to pursue profitable growth, meaning growth across all the 3 important lines, including users, revenues, as well as profits. So, hopefully these answers your questions about the outlook for revenue and value-added service for the MOMO segment next year. I think we perhaps have time for one last question.
Right. So, Rocco, do we have any more questions on the line?
We do. We have one more question.
Oh, please.
And our final question today comes from Xueqing Zhang with CICC. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层。我的问题跟利润率有关。之前 prepared remarks 提到了下半年账本增效还是很重要的策略。那如果我们看4季度和2023年，能不能帮我们多分享一下成本控制上的策略以及整体利润率上的一个趋势？谢谢。Thanks management for taking my question. My question is related to margin. As you mentioned in the prepared remarks, reducing costs and improving efficiency is a key strategy in the second half of 2022. So can management share more on the cost control strategy and the overall margin trend in the first quarter and 2023? Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna take this one last margin question quickly, so we can close the call before market is open. The 3 biggest cost items that we have are number 1 is payouts to the broadcasters and the performers and the moderators in the value-added service line. And the second and third biggest are marketing expenses and payroll. I guess I'll take them one by one. For payout, as you can see, Q3 versus Q2 this year has been largely stable. The dip in gross margin was really caused by the mix shift in between different business line items. Q4, we do expect payout to go up a couple of percentage points due to the year-end promotional events. But that should be Q4 specific. It happens every year and will bounce back early next year when the year-end gala is gone. Overall, for next year, at this point of time, my view is that payout is likely to remain largely stable because no one that we are currently seeing out there in the market is still aggressively boosting the supply side by pulling up the payout ratio. And B, internally, we do not see it as an effective strategy to grow revenues by sacrificing margins. So, that's my view on the payout. Gross margin-wise, it may fluctuate a little bit around the current level due to the mix shift one way or another. Moving down to payroll and marketing. This year, we've done a pretty good job in controlling these 2 cost items, and this can be evidenced by the decrease in R&D and marketing expenses. I guess in Q4, because we have the year-end bonus, the double pay, etc., the payroll might increase a little bit, but overall, we have that overall downward trend in the payroll and marketing due to the cost optimization. We're going to continue to apply the same strategy next year, and investors can expect tighter control and more focus on the cost efficiency for payroll and marketing. The other thing worth mentioning as far as cost control and the overall strategy to increase efficiency is concerned is that in terms of the allocation of resources internally, we won't treat every business line in an equal manner. What that means is that we're going to lean more toward new businesses with higher ROI. In the second half of this year, we've been reallocating engineering resources and marketing dollars from MOMO to new applications. I'm happy to see that while the overall payroll and marketing expenses went down, we did not underinvest in the new applications, and they've been growing pretty well. And that will continue to be the case next year. I guess these are the questions. These are the answers to the margin question. And with that, I'm handing back to Ashley for the closing remarks.
Well, we're very much over time, so thank you very much for participating in today's call, and we'll see you next quarter.
Thank you. That does conclude our conference for today, and thank you for participating. You may now disconnect your lines and have a wonderful day.